Hey fellow designers, it's Karen of Made by Karen M. We are back to episode 4 of Prom Dressmaking Chronicles with some behind the scenes footage on how I created this gown. I used my circle skirt templates for the train from knee to floor and my mermaid gown pattern for the bodice with the sleeves as well as the skirt. So here I have my 2 skirt back pieces. Well, actually there are 4 pieces. So on this side you can see I've already done the process of making the back skirt dip down to the center back. And this, I have just my basic skirt back cut out where it goes straight across at the top. And we're going to be going from this to this. So I have 4 identical pieces that I've cut out, and this has already been flipped right side out. These 2 over here on the left, they're pinned together, right sides together, and I have them pinned together along the top. Now, what I did to get from this to this, I have some thin elastic, 3 millimeters wide. I wouldn't have been opposed to using a thicker elastic. I just couldn't find it. I always have extra and I don't know where it is. But anyways, so I have this pinned together, right sides together. And what I did was take my elastic and I just pin a piece here, right at the edge. I wanted to leave a little bit of a tail. And I'm starting a 1/2 inch down because that's how long my seam allowance is. But I wanted to leave a little bit of a tail outside the edge of the fabric. And then I'm sloping it down 1, 2, 3.5 inches because I have a 1/2 inch seam allowance and I want a 3 inch downward slope. So here's my 3.5 inch mark. And so I have my elastic slanted like this, and then I'm just going to pull it an additional 2 inches. And that's how I know how much it needs to be stretched. So I'm going to pin that there. And you can see how it scrunches up. That's what it's going to do as well once we have it sewn down. And then I'm taking my scissors and I'm just trimming with about 1 inch left over. So now I'm going to stretch this out and I'm going to be sewing this down using a zigzag stitch on my sewing machine. This is what I'm going to do with my sewing machine set. I'm going to be using a zigzag stitch. That's number 4 on my machine. Excuse my scuffed up nails. And I'm going to change the stitch width to 1 just because my elastic is so thin. I want to make sure that my needle is puncturing the elastic on both sides of the stitch. Now I'm placing my skirt pieces on my machine. And I'm going to, I have a pin here, which is not necessarily safe. Once I sit this plate down, I'm going to remove that pin. So I want to stick my needle in there just to make sure, that it's in the right place. Remove this pin back here. I could have left a longer tail of elastic because I want it to be able to pull on that. So I'm just sticking my pin through here. And I'm going to just sew a little bit so that it's secure. See how narrow that stitch is? And then as I'm sewing the rest, I'm going to pull this back so that it is stretched out. And you want to just go slow. Make sure that your needle is going, or that your stitches are going through the elastic. I already feel like I missed a little part of it. And keep it stretched out. And take this out. Okay, so that is what it looks like. Pretty good. I'm going to take all these pins out. And I just want to flip it real quick and make sure that it looks fairly even to the other piece. I think that it looks good. Okay, so we got everything sewn down. Let me take this pin out. That was for me to remember where the top of my skirt was. And now I'm going to trim off this extra seam allowance because I don't want that big triangle of fabric showing through on the other side of the dress. And I'm just going to flip this right side out. And now I'm going to pin the 2 layers of fabric together along the edges. Now that I have everything pinned, I'm going to put this on my machine and I'm going to be top stitching at the very edge using a straight stitch and just getting as close to the edge as possible.
Thank you for wanting a verse from me. Apologies.
And there you have it. Now we have our skirt back with the dip in the waist, and I went ahead and installed a zipper as well. I love installing my zipper before I attach the rest of the dress. Before sewing the back to the front, it just makes it easier in my opinion. And so now all I have left to do is to attach the front skirt, and then I'll be able to get to the rest of the dress. I already did my circle skirt, and yeah.
The weight, sometimes it's hard to get the distractions up off you. For enough time to jot your thoughts, but fuck it, this morning I got to. I'm thinking about you. I heard you just had you another little baby. Congratulations.
I asked my client to use the editing tool on her phone to basically color in the areas where she wanted me to place appliques. This made it really easy for me to have some guidance in finishing the dress. Next thing you're going to see me doing is taking a shortcut and top stitching the applique onto the sleeve.
I hope you got through it with no complications. I find it amazing the way that you juggle your kids, the biz, the fame, the bitches that's hating. They sit around waiting for you to fall off like the album I'm making. But I hope that you taking a little time for yourself. Still in a moment or two to unwind between the hectic sounds of your precious baby crying. Do you clear your mind? Must be a lot going on. I hear it in all of your songs. Niggas been doing you wrong. Barely been doing you wrong.
Now I am hand stitching appliques onto the bodice. If you guys remember my video about the cardboard, I'm using cardboard that's cut out in the shape of her measurements to make sure that I have the bodice stretched out as much as it's going to be stretched out when she puts it on. That's the reason why I hand stitch the bodice, and I'm able to machine stitch the applique on the sleeve because the sleeve doesn't have to stretch its actual size. But since the bodice has to stretch, we want to make sure it's stretched out while we're sewing the appliques on. Now I'm getting ready to steam the prom dress, so I'm filling up my garment steamer with water. I found this at Walmart. It was pretty inexpensive, so I'll try to find the link for you guys, or I might put an Amazon link in the description box so you guys know where to find it. But the fabric on the bottom of my prom dress had so many wrinkles from the way that it was folded on the fabric bolt, so I definitely had to steam it before I allowed the client to come pick it up.
On days you feeling like you on your own, I wrote this for you to put on. Thank you for sharing your light, your voice, and writing a beautiful poem. Session 32, bring me to tears. Be getting choked up when I hear it. Seem like I keep crying off so much since a nigga had these kids. And I don't know what it is that made me so sensitive. More than I already was. But never mind that, I'm back. I'm sending you this little audio hug. And hopes that you smile, forgetting the stress that piles from all the above. The more that we hurt, the harder we love.
So many hours go into like even finishing touches of making a dress that you don't even think about like when you're starting the project. Like this fabric that I bought for this dress has so many wrinkles from the bolts, and I'm now sitting here and having to steam it before it goes home so that it won't look crazy, because we're about to take this big 6-yard train home and iron it bit by bit. So the steaming is a part of my job on the quality check end before the dress goes home. And typically, I don't usually have to steam dresses because I don't be having all these wrinkles. Like this is, let's look at this. Look at these wrinkles. That's crazy. And I'm having to use my steamer to get all the wrinkles out. Fortunately, it's doing a pretty good job. I always put my finished dress on the mannequin at the end of the process so that I can take my own photos. But this is also an opportunity for me to do some like finishing touches and quality checking. So as you can see here, I noticed there were some threads that were hanging that needed to be snipped. So always make sure before your dress goes home that you are reviewing the entire dress and making sure that everything is perfect. And then here I noticed that the neckline is a little bit uneven, so I'm just taking these teeny tiny scissors and straightening it out a little bit. These are actually manicure scissors, and they have a very like fine tip, so they're my favorite when it comes to cutting anything lace. You also want to check the area near the shoulder and make sure none of that seam allowance is spilling out to the neckline as well. So here she is. I am about to just snap my pictures. Do I need to add another piece of lace up there? I thought that was even, but now it doesn't look like it. I need to add a little piece right there. See how long like finishing touches can take? Because I thought I was gonna take pictures, and now I done found a missing patch of lace, and I feel like that looks uneven. So let me get a little flower to sew on there. And there you guys have it. Here is my prom doll in the finished dress on her prom night at her prom send-off, looking amazing. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.